Role models break up, the ethics of autofiction, and how has the kinda chic trend altered our vocab? I'm Maggie Zhao.
And I'm Jasmine Wallace, and you're listening to Culture Club, where two writers and editors chat pop culture, the arts, and the internet.
Today, we are on the lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nations.
We would like to pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander listeners today.
It feels so good to be back on mic, Jazz.
Welcome back. You were just away in Europe for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
How was? We haven't actually really seen each other IRL. We saw each other for like 10 minutes at a MIF screening that you were hosting, and then we kind of ran off. So we haven't even like caught up on the trip.
I know. It feels weird. We were still texting quite a lot when I was away, I will say. I was messaging you like every day, I feel.
But mostly about like podcast stuff.
No, other things too, I feel. But I had the best time in Europe. I was in London, and then I went to Copenhagen Fashion Week, and then I went to Amsterdam. And it genuinely was just such a fun trip. I feel like I got to catch up with a lot of people, and I was going back to cities I'd been to before. So there's something really nice about returning to a place and like feeling a bit familiar with it, or being like, I've been to that Sainsbury before, and going back.
Yeah.
So it was really nice, and it was summer, which was beautiful, but the heat wave has been like disastrous. And in London especially, like when I was there at the end, it was like 35 degrees and they hadn't seen rain for 2 months. The grass, she was yellow and brittle.
Did you go to like Hyde Park or
Yes.
anywhere, like Primrose Hill or anywhere?
Yes, Hyde Park, Regent's Park, where Serpentine is at Hyde Park. I think so many parks, so many patches of grass I've sat on.
Despite it being like drought.
Oh yeah, still, you just need some like shade time. I loved fitting that into my day. I love solo traveling, so I feel like I've got a good routine. And like every time I go to Europe, I'm like, get a bag of cherries, go to a park, like sit down and read, get an ice cream, you know.
You're so good at that stuff. Like your little rituals.
I feel like anyone with disposable income in a new city, they're like, they can make do.
Yeah. What was your favorite city?
Oh, good question. I really loved going back to London. It was such a fun time. And I stayed like in Soho in the theatre district for the first week, and then still went around a bit. I just think there's something so energetic about the city. It was just such a fun time.
I miss it so much.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so nice being like at a place that I know is so important to you and you have like history with.
So wife core, thinking of me, like the long lost wife in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Well, how was your past month since we've been back on mic?
It's been good. I had a little break from some freelance work, so I just took a moment to just exist, which was nice. I feel like it's just been typical Melbourne winter vibes. Everyone's been kind of hibernating a bit, but one thing that I have been doing was going to the Melbourne International Film Festival, or MIF. I smashed it this year. Normally with these things, I get really overwhelmed and I'm like, oh, I want to see everything, so I'll see almost nothing. Mm-hmm. This year, I was at the movies every single day for over a week.
No, you weren't.
I think I went to every cinema in Melbourne. Nearly. Yeah, so many highlights, but I'm going to like trickle them out over bookmarked recommendations. I think I've seen like 20 movies this month nearly.
Stop.
Yeah, not all MIF.
No, but that's amazing. And like so many in the cinemas. She's a cinema buff, some would say.
The 9:15 p.m. screenings. That's on a Tuesday too. Yeah. I was like, this is real. Cinephile core.
I will say, when I was coming home from London to Perth, I watched 3 movies in a row, and I feel like no one else has ever watched this combo of 3 movies. Are you ready? So I started off, this is very normal. I think this came out this year or last year. It was like a sci-fi movie called Good Luck, Don't Die, Have Fun. Have you heard of this?
No.
So quite fun, like kind of dystopian, adventure-y, surreal film, a bit tonally similar to Everywhere, Everything, All at Once. Mm-hmm. I butchered that, but you know where I mean. Then following that, guess what I watched, Jazz? I was excited to tell you about this one.
Like a rom-com?
No, it's from 1935, black and white.
Hold on, let me think. On a plane?
Yeah, I don't know why I watched this.
No, but like, I feel like, why are they even showing a movie from 1935 on a plane? Not Metropolis.
No, but I do want to watch that one since you recommended it on the podcast.
Gaslight, maybe?
No, I don't even know what that is. Okay, let me just tell you. It was Bride of Frankenstein. I haven't even seen Frankenstein.
The OG Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah. The first one, not even the Maggie Gyllenhaal one. Yeah. And then after that, the last movie was this beautiful like Singaporean Chinese film called A Good Child or The Good Child. And it was this beautiful, tender like family drama where it's like a drag queen coming home to take care of his mum who has dementia. So it was so I'm crying.
God.
I know.
This is a lot on a plane. Surely you just watch like these fluffy kind of easy to watch movies that distract you so quickly that you're like, hey, I'm getting through the hours.
I did watch Super Mario Galaxy after which was terrible. So that ticks the brief. But I was in business class, baby. So I was like, I'm enjoying it.
No, wait, you have to divulge.
Okay, a little bit. So I'll be able to talk more about this later. But I got sent over there on a brand trip, like a press trip, but I can't talk about it yet. But fear not, listeners. I will tell you.
So mysterious.
And I went to business class for the first time and genuinely I was so excited. I was thinking more about that flight than the trip sometimes, like before I left. And I just had a great time reclining, eating all their food. It was genuinely such a treat. Like I kept telling all the flight assistants, I was like, this is my first time. This is my first time. And then I got to bring my mum back some pajamas and she was so happy. So
The Qantas
pajamas, I should say. Yeah.
Australians will know that is like, what is it called? Like
It's quite luxury.
Yeah, quite luxury. It's chic, quite luxury.
Uh-huh.
It's a status symbol here in Australia to have the Qantas pajamas. Did you fly economy on the way home?
No, they covered the whole way. In intercity, like to Amsterdam and Copenhagen I paid for, and yeah, that was economy.
Fine, like 1 hour, 2 hours. No, it's a couple hours, isn't it? Do you think you'll ever be able to fly economy? Like that's what I would be scared of. Like once you have that experience, how do you go back to cattle?
I can. I'm convincing myself I can. I will say though, flying home, it was London to Perth, 17 hours. I just don't know if I could do that in like a middle seat economy.
London, you did the London to Perth.
Yeah, 17 hours.
How was that?
It was actually good.
I guess it's different when you're in like business class.
And I actually will stop the business class talk because I'm out of touch with the people, guys. That's it. That's all you'll be getting from me.
While you were away, though, we had a few interview episodes go up. So we had 2 female authors, Lucienne Tonti, who's the author of Good Witch, and Naomi Ishiguro, who's the author of The Rain Shadow Orphans, which you did a solo remote ep just before you left.
And then we also had Cory Doctorow on, who is a tech journo and activist. And I'm so proud of all those conversations. I feel like our podcast interviews that we did with them, they were more focused on like bigger topics. So, you know, the one with Lucienne was about feminism and capitalism and witch hunts, whereas like Cory's was about like AI and big tech. It was really fun to conduct. And I think you guys were like listening to them. So if you haven't already, you can dive in whenever.
But now we're back on the mic with a pop culture episode. So let's get into it.
Mm-hmm. Number 1, cab off the rank. What do you mean Role Model and Dakota Johnson have broken up?
I feel like they were barely together though.
Well, were they? Because as we'll talk about, she appeared on one of his songs and I'm like, that feels like a ring on the finger in the songwriting industry.
So Dakota Johnson and Role Model, whose real name is Tucker Pillsbury, they have split. On August 19, people reported the couple had ended things privately, and a source told the outlet that they split, quote, a while ago, though the insider didn't share any details about when or why they broke up. The pair were first spotted together back in December of last year, and they've been, you know, quietly dating for the past 6 months.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised by this news because I feel like their relationship did feel really real to me. We got pap shots kind of drip fed. It wasn't like overly in our faces. But then again, with this cameo appearance that she has in his song Love I You, yes, had to reread that to make sure I said that correctly, from his new album, Chuck Timely and the Hourglass. I just thought that meant something. Okay.
But I feel like with all these celebrity things, like a relationship can still mean something just because it was for 6 months. Like not everything has to be like, oh, they were together for years and they get married.
Okay, this is the thing. I'm like, he was with Emma Chamberlain for quite some time. That's kind of how I know him first. And the fact that she appeared in a music video of his and it's like mainly just shot from behind, like you barely see her face until the end. And that was years into the relationship. That's what I mean. I feel like this was like a very explicit kind of stamp of approval of like, hey, Dakota's in my life. She's in my song.
Well, the way the cameo appearance came about is it was actually kind of a bit accidental. So your theory checks out. In an interview with Nylon magazine, Role Model said he'd been hesitant to use Dakota's voice in the bridge of the song. He said, I had a lot of names to pick from for that. And then Dakota came to the studio one day and Mason Stoops, who is a guitarist and producer, was like, why don't you do it? I was like, stop, we're not mixing work and relationships. She was like, I'll do it, and stood right up and got in the booth and knocked it out better than we could have imagined. So I was like, okay, if she's down, that's an amazing cameo.
Mm-hmm. It is sweet. It is sweet. But I guess that's the end of that. So I am curious to know who else he'll be dating in the future. To be honest, I'm ready.
Lena Dunham and Carly Rae Jepsen have teamed up to maximize their joint slay with a 10 Things I Hate About You musical.
Oh my God. Seeing this news drop, I was like, I don't really want to go to America, but get me to America to see this production.
Fully. It's coming to Broadway next year and it's based on the 1999 rom-com that stars Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger.
I am actually surprised that they hadn't adapted this into a musical before because, you know, I've seen Clueless on stage. I've seen Heathers. I've seen like a lot of those kind of 90s rom-coms dramas of that era. And I feel like 10 Things I Hate About You like does really make sense for the stage.
Well, Heathers is 80s. But what other kind of ones would there be?
What's that one that's like problematic? Sorry. The one with like the sister.
Waitress?
No. There's like a cocaine necklace.
Cruel Intentions.
Yes, that one. Anyway, there's been a lot of that time.
So a logline for the Broadway show describes 10 Things I Hate About You as a, quote, rebellious musical about growing up, discovering yourself, and refusing to live by others' expectations. Amid the crushes, cliques, and teenage angst, two sisters set out to define themselves on their own terms. So very, very similar to the movie.
Mm-hmm. And I just think that this is in its best hands it could possibly be in. I actually am such a big Lena Dunham fan now, more so than ever before, dare I say. And I think Carly Rae Jepsen's pop sensibility will be perfect for this. I'm expecting it to be camp, fun, just super enjoyable to watch, dare I say.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think that a musical is like the new iteration of the remake? Because 10 Things I Hate About You, the movie, is based on the Shakespeare play The Taming of the Shrew. And then it was obviously made into the movie in the 90s and now it's a musical. And I feel like there's been a few things like that as well. Like Wicked is a good example.
Good.
Well, that was the other way around. That was a musical and then a movie. But I just think maybe, you know, like She's the Man. There were so many Shakespearean movies made in the 90s, 2000s based off the plays that is now the next stage of those great stories from Shakespeare back to musicals.
I'm trying to think of another example that's really followed that line because I think you're right. There's definitely like the musical to movie pipeline. So you mentioned Wicked. Locally, I'm thinking My Brilliant Career is an interesting one. Let me try state my case because it was a 1901 Miles Franklin novel and then recently got turned into a musical and then now it's a TV show on Netflix. But I know that the TV show isn't adapted from the musical, but I think the hype from the musical like
helped
spearheaded this into being created into a TV show. So I think TV producers and like musical producers would be like looking at each other's work for sure.
Isn't it amazing that Miles Franklin wrote that book in 1901 and 100 plus years later it's like getting adapted into different things?
Wild.
Wouldn't that be crazy if you wrote a book like that and over 100 years later it's still being adapted?
Like imagine telling her in 126 years or whatever, this will be adapted into a Netflix like TV show. She'd be like, what?
People watch it on their phones on the train. Yeah. Have you seen the show yet?
Not yet. I'm saving it to watch it with a friend who loves a musical. So how about you?
It's on my list.
On your list.
But I haven't started yet. I think I'll start this weekend.
There's some literary news that's gone around, and it is about Rachel Cusk's new book and the potential rumors that it is about Natalie Portman. Back in July, there was this embargo-breaking report in a publication called Unheard, and it claimed that her new book called Life of M was a, quote, dark portrait of Natalie Portman, who is a long-time fan of Rachel's work.
The Telegraph then called the book, quote, cruel and a literary assassination of Natalie Portman. So Rachel is known for her autofiction work, and in The Life of M, the narrator sets out to write the, quote, autobiography of an actress that she is acquaintances with.
And for those who don't know, autofiction is like a fictionalized book, but that is drawn from someone's real life experiences. So it kind of blurs memoir or real life with fiction. Have you read any of Rachel's books before?
I have Outline by Rachel on my TBR. It's a really beautiful cover. I think Rachel's really known for these like really aesthetic covers. I feel like they're very like literary it girl core.
The way I would describe it is like it's usually a photograph and then in bold sans serif, like capitalized text, it's like her name and the title. So it's very quite like flat imagery, and it is of a very trending nature at the moment.
So I haven't actually read it, is to answer your question. Have you?
No, I haven't. But I feel like she always has seemed like this, I hate using words like this because they are quite empty, but like cool it girl author, okay? Yes. But having this conversation like hit the mainstream and bring in like Natalie Portman, I feel like this has put her into a different like playing field.
So let's talk about why people are saying this book could be about Natalie Portman. So the actress in the novel rose to fame as a child star and has an interest in books. She also found the role of a lifetime in a movie about a tortured ballerina.
I wonder which one that could be, yeah.
In The Cut, they wrote, anyone with a working knowledge of culture could easily identify M as Portman. Over the course of 183 pages, Cusk reveals all of the ugly bits of M's psyche in what amounts to a quite nasty rendering of Portman, or a woman who sounds a lot like her, as a soulless artist who can't turn off her performance.
And we did say up top that that Natalie was a big fan of Rachel's work. And actually in both 2022 and 2024, she interviewed Rachel about her books as part of her Instagram book club. So they have definitely spoken before. So how do we feel if this is true? So what if Rachel has drawn from Natalie Portman's life for this book? Do we care? Is it a bad thing? Is it okay?
I know when you're writing fiction, you're not meant to, like there's always that disclaimer at the start that's like any depiction of people or places real, like it's all a work of fiction. It could be inspired by, but it's not real. And that's for like copyright and defamation law, I'm assuming. So what I was thinking about this, is it the fact that this has made so many headlines in the literary world, is it a part of the literary crisis in the US? Like not to deep it like that, but I think if it's like, oh my gosh, this is about Natalie Portman, does everything have to be real? Does that make sense?
What do you mean by everything has to be
like,
real?
This is a work of fiction.
Mm-hmm.
It could be inspired by someone like Natalie Portman or aspects of Natalie's career and life. But I think that that's fine because fiction is fiction. It's just your imagination. And you can, like you always say, like nothing's original.
Yes.
You can start with an idea. Like I don't think any authors or writers can just pluck something out of completely thin air. Maybe if it's like a science fiction fantasy, but even then you're still pulling on like people, threads from people Every time we've interviewed an author and asked like, oh, do your friends and family think it's like okay that you're writing about this thing? They're like, well, yeah, it's not real.
I mean, I think this feels quite explicitly tied to Natalie Portman more so than just like, oh, I'm pulling from, like female celebrities that are like in the zeitgeist right now. I will say at the time of recording, the book isn't out yet. It's about to drop and it will have been released by the time this episode's gone out. So we haven't read this book. But from all reports, I feel like it's quite explicit and quite heavily borrowed or not even inspired. Like I really do feel like it's about Natalie. And in my head, I don't really care. I think that's fine. I think it sucks for Natalie and Natalie only. Like for the general public or Rachel's audience who'll be consuming this book, it's great entertainment. it just hurts one person at the center of it, I think, which sucks. And it could be considered a dog move and like a mean thing to do. But I think it's okay.
I'm sure Rachel Cusk's publicists are very happy with all of the press. This is what sells books sometimes. Like sometimes when you have a drama like this, like for example, Yesteryear by Cara Claire Burke, that is, in my opinion, is a good book, but it's had a lot of like publicity and headlines, and then people read it because they're like, well, I want to figure out for myself, is this really, about Ballerina Farm? Is this book really about Natalie Portman? And in the end, you sell more books. So I'm sure the team at Rachel Cusk's, publisher are very happy. But a source actually told The Telegraph that Natalie is, quote, more concerned with the state of the world than any drama surrounding the book. In another statement, another source close to Natalie told In Touch that she is more focused on the devastation of the fires in France where she lives and on her pregnancy than she is with this book.
Dead. Why is that embarrassing?
Why is that embarrassing?
Oh my God. Like just, I don't know why I really don't like that. It's like, that's eye-rolly quotes to me because I'm like, just pretending that you're like whatever, you are above it all, but like having to be like the devastation of the fires in France. Like I just don't give a quote. Just like ignore it. Ignore it if you don't care.
Interesting. Wow.
You don't feel the way. I don't know why I feel like that.
When I read it, I was like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, fair.
I do think it's rare though that you hear an actress or a celebrity kind of speak to a source and almost like clap back.
Yeah.
And be like, this is just gossip.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I think she should have just not said anything, or any sources close to her shouldn't have said anything. According to social media, everything is chic. But what happens to social media trends when they hit fever pitch and become meaningless? This is what we want to talk about in our big segment of today. First off, in our time away, a big social media trend came about, and it is, quote, kind of chic to ...
I don't think I've ever seen an Instagram trend go from like the hottest thing ever, everyone's doing it, to like, if you do this, you're a freaking idiot. What is wrong with you, in my life? And I think this is why we are less of a pop culture podcast these days, because everything is even faster. Like I swear it was like a week or 10 days of like, oh, everyone's doing this trend. It's like cute and fun, whatever, to like the New York Times is reporting on it. Everyone has a take. I know we're about to give our own takes, but yeah, I was quite shocked by the speed of this trend.
You're so right. Like you are right. There are a lot of social media trends that become super popular, but now it's like this personal indictment on you if you have used this and you're like stupid and you're like a sheep. But let's get into it because we'll get into like all of it. It's a big topic and we actually want to talk about a few different sides of it, okay? So starting perhaps with trend slop or template slop, we'll get into that, as well as trends around text formatting and then actual vocabulary that's being kind of ripped apart at the moment. There was this Substack that went viral, and that was by Berlin-based fashion editor and influencer Brenda #, real name Brenda Weischer. And this Substack was called "Oh My God, We're in Template Slop." She actually got quite a lot of backlash for this. The stand first read, "Everyone is getting good, no one is getting better." And essentially, when I read it, her argument is just like anyone can be a graphic designer / a writer now, or a photographer with these tools that are at our disposal, which in my opinion, that's not a bad thing, but she kind of thinks it is. I have a question for you because her big, I guess, thesis argument relied on the point that everyone is using templates, like templated content, which is like on CapCut, it's ready-made templates where you put in your own text and video, but it's really like made for you. Do you use these?
No. I have sometimes played around with them, but I just think I'm not good at like graphic design stuff. So if I do try to use them, they don't look exactly the way the other girls look, and then I get insecure. I'm like, well, I don't want to post like something that's like it's trying to be that, but it's not. And so then I just either won't post anything or I'll just post something really simple.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. And I'm glad you've shared.
So vulnerable.
It is quite vulnerable. But in terms of like the templates, no, I don't use them because a lot of the time these trends rely on like quick cuts and then text at the top. Like you can make that yourself and I just make that myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I don't know, maybe everyone is using these templates, but I think that's like a big allegation to make. And I also struggle with a piece because content trends have been around since bloody the start of social media. And the way that she was, I guess, formatting the piece, it was like, I struggled through this. Like I learned how to take photos and make videos. So you should struggle too. It's like so lazy that people are using these templates. Sorry, I know it sounds like I might be ripping into her a bit, but I think this article was like everywhere when I was traveling, and I just don't agree with it.
This new like text on image thing / kind of chic to trend reminds me of the, like it's been around forever, this kind of almost meme like social media content.
Yeah, because I think these types of posts are one, relatable, and two, they're kind of cloaked in this anonymity where it's like anyone can relate. Like that could be anyone posting, right? It's like a piece of a picture with some text on it. You can see yourself in that. Like you could have made that yourself. And there's something like unpolished about it, right? So you just mentioned, and we talked about it a few weeks ago as well, that trend of having photos with a big text on it. And then there's also the rise of the yellow font or yellow text. People are calling it the big yellow font epidemic.
I've definitely fallen victim to the big yellow text in the past 6-ish months. But there was a Substack by type designer Paula Passa called How Typography is Making People Famous, which was really interesting. Paula actually read some of the Substack in their own words.
On the internet, it's not about standing out. It's actually about blending in. The strategy now seems to be fit in aesthetically, use the same formula, and this will guarantee you get views. While these typography styles may look visually appealing, I wonder if we're losing a sense of self when we engage with them. Although I appreciate the style and it feels like it understands design, when I step back and think about it, it doesn't fit my personality whatsoever. As a creator myself, I'm tempted to use this style because it seems to be what works. But it's not me. I would be doing a disservice to my design skills and my own perspective if I participated.
That was such a nice perspective, I think, to read, because I think I get thrown into the world of like what's trending on social media sometimes. And I'm like, oh, yes, I'll be using this font because that's what everybody is using right now. Or, oh, yes, this is a font that performs better, without thinking about as much about taste. But I feel like that's sometimes the name of the game. Like it's a hard thing because I think so many of us try to like cram ourselves to fit social media and not the other way around of like, oh, how can I use social media in a way that I want? It's more like, how can I perform for social media and for it to do well for me?
But don't you think it's all a game anyway? That's the name of the game, and the algorithms are always changing. So therefore we're always chasing like the next thing. And it's not even about like, oh, I created this trend. It's like, oh, I was a part of this trend and the algorithm rewarded me. And so therefore I like got lots of followers or likes, and that's the name of the game in the end.
Yeah, but like it feels like gambling. Like it feels dirty. And a way I was thinking about it, and for sure I do like dabble in these trends, but as someone who's been creating content for 14 years now, the way I try to look at algorithms and stuff is, instead of trying to, I think of the algorithm almost like a big ocean. It's got massive waves. It will go however it wants. And I'm not trying to like to chase the waves. I'm not trying to ride every wave because I'm going to get fucking bashed by the water. What's it called when I can't swim? So this is the perfect analogy, actually.
When you get dumped by the waves.
Yeah, you'll get dumped. But I think if you're doing your own thing and kind of like on your own, like floating on the water, sometimes for sure the wave will kind of lift you up. But oftentimes it won't. But I don't think it's worth trying to like swim against the tide to try chase that.
And I think that's been our philosophy with Culture Club too. You wrote a post on our Substack recently where we hit 500 followers, And you mentioned that like we've been doing this for 6 years and we've really been like slow and steady and like in our own lane, running our own race. And while we sometimes have felt the pressure to be like, okay, we should do like a pop culture roundup every week or every morning and like what's happened overnight in the US and da 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 da. We've just been like, no, we want to like make the content that we want to make and engage in the trends that we want to engage in, and whatever we don't want to do isn't for us. And like, that's okay. We might not grow as quickly as other people or creators or podcasts, but if you're doing your own thing on social media, the right people will find you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. And now I think this conversation has hit a new height with the word chic. There has been so much discourse on this word. I love this article in British Vogue last year from May, and it was called RIP Chic, the word has finally lost all meaning. And that was written by Lauren O'Neill. So Lauren writes, these days, chic has come to be mistaken for certain moneyed strains of taste, rather than the sort of unique je ne sais quoi that I think the word at its purest actually means. Are martinis and jauntily branded small plate restaurants, whether you order the same dishes of anchovies and cured meats regardless of which city you're in, truly chic? Or are they just things that people with a lot of disposable income happen to enjoy currently?
It's no wonder that use of this word, which points to stylishness and elegance and a general sense of the elevated, has gone into overdrive in recent times, when everything from what we wear to where we happen to buy our croissants on a Saturday is an opportunity to prove how in tune with what is supposedly cool we are. Chic, then, has become a way of marking yourself and your activities out as somehow aspirational, when really it's all just a millennial and Gen Z version of keeping up with the Joneses, being seen in the right place, in the right clothes, drinking the right matcha or whatever. That's such a good comparison. It is keeping up with the Joneses, but it's defined as like, I'm doing this for me. I'm going to this cafe for me, or like because it's kind of chic, but it is a trend. And I don't think there's anything wrong in participating in trends. I will go to the hot restaurant. I will, go look at the new store that's just opened that everyone's going to. But I think it's more about having discernment. And I think the older that you get as well, the less you care about where everyone's going, what everyone's doing. You can still be interested in it, I think, but it's becomes less of like, I have to be seen there, and more like, does this suit my lifestyle? Is this what I want to be doing? Do I actually want a croissant from Dua Bakehouse, or are all of the cool girls going there? So therefore I want to go there. And if it's the latter, I think that's also fine. And
I think the conversation around the word usage of chic is really, I think, important too. I struggle with this. It's embarrassing to admit, like as writers and podcasters, my brain sometimes wants to pull out the easiest words, and that can be chic, that could be cool, that could be it girl, like we said before. And I think it's this constant challenge of trying to extend and flex your vocabulary, especially when it isn't the easiest. Like there are easier options at play in front of you. And I've seen different TikToks on this, and people are like, guys, I feel like TikTok has addled my vocabulary, and I'm like speaking in very like simplistic terms, and we're all using kind of the same slang. And like there's something beautiful in slang, obviously, and it's nice that we can collectively pull from the same references. But at the same time, I need to check myself. Like it was so easy earlier this episode to be like, oh, that's chic. Oh, Jazz has a new drink bottle. I said, that's so chic. But I'm like, what do I actually mean by that?
But I feel like there's almost a villainization of the word now. But like what you just said, that was like a lot of shame. You had a lot of shame in what you just said, talking about like the way you use certain words. And it's like, it's fine. It's just a word.
No, but like these words don't mean anything anymore. Like I think we're being really reductive with our language. Words chic, cool, even aesthetics. Like that's not even what it means. Like we just throw these words around, and I allow that words can change meaning. That's obviously a normal way of linguistics. But I think we're not like thinking before we speak as much. And I think especially with the word chic. There was this great article called What is Chic? Race, Aesthetics and the Politics of Elegance that was written by India Lowe for Liverpool Guild of Students. So this incredible student writer, I think, really broke down the issues with the word chic. And I think that's what underpins my discomfort with our usage of it. So India writes, chic is not descriptive, but evaluative. It does not just describe how someone dresses, it determines how closely one aligns with a dominant aesthetic ideal. To be called chic is to be recognized as refined, elegant, and culturally credible within a particular aesthetic framework. That framework, however, is not timeless or universal. It is historically produced and socially reinforced. To be considered chic today often implies participation in a particular visual language, minimalist interiors, understated luxury, and carefully curated effortlessness. However, chic is not only classed, it is also profoundly racialized. Despite its claims to universality, the dominant image of chic is remarkably consistent. Across magazines, brand campaigns, and digital culture, chic is overwhelmingly embodied by thin, white, able-bodied women whose appearance aligns with Eurocentric beauty standards. This repetition is not incidental. It reveals chic as a racialized aesthetic, one that quietly positions whiteness as refined, neutral, and culturally superior.
I think we did have a similar conversation with quiet luxury. Quiet luxury and chic often go hand in hand. But yeah, I agree that the word is losing meaning. It is becoming like the term aesthetic, which used to be like, oh, we're in a neutral aesthetic right now in this studio. But now it's like this studio is so aesthetic.
It's not an adjective, yeah.
Yeah. And I think chic is going the same way. I really liked this article in the New York Times called The Slipperyness of Chic by Marie Solis. It's just a short essay. And in it, the writer found a definition of chic that resonated with her the most. It was actually from a column printed in 1877 with no name attached to it. And it says, what is chic may, in a sense, be fashionable, but what is fashionable cannot be chic. Anybody can wear and do what is fashionable. It has the quickness of a hummingbird and the vitality of an eel.
Love that.
Love that.
Yeah, it's a nice way to look at it. I think everyone would love to be cool or chic, but that is an intangible concept like we talked about in our Cool Girl content episode. I think when I was reading some of the quotes, I know we pulled from lots of articles today, I don't want to feel like we are being like intellectuals that are,
judging.
Yes. I'm like talking to myself in this episode. As you saw before, I know you pointed out maybe the shame that I was speaking with, but I just want to use the English language to the best of my abilities. That's literally it. And I think language and the way we choose to speak and the words we use really have a direct reflection on our worldview and like our perspective on the world. So I that's why I do want to be more, I think, considered with my language.
It's now time for Bookmarked, where we share something we've loved watching, reading, and listening to this week. Mags, you're up first. What do you have for us?
I have a myth film that I watched last night, actually, and it is called The Friend's House Is Here. And this is an Iranian-American film. It was just released this year, premiered at Sundance, where it actually won the US Dramatic Special Jury Award for Ensemble Cast because a lot of the cast was non-professional actors. The premise of this film is essentially it follows two female best friends and they both make art in different ways, from theatre and dance. And it is kind of just about their friendship and their pursuit of art, but against a backdrop of war in Tehran and their authoritarian government. So in its essence, there's so much that I guess we can relate to. It's like a really beautiful, like funny kind of love story between friends, but at the same time, it's this like really oppressive government. And what I found really interesting was the kind of story behind this. So this film was actually made secretively, like underground, and then it was actually smuggled out of Iran for Sundance.
Oh my
I think
God.
on a USB. I think it might have been the DOP who did that. So the story behind it, I think, adds so much weight to it. And it was just such a beautiful film. Look, to be honest, not sure where you can watch it yet, but I think this is just one to keep your eye on if it does hit cinemas or any streaming services.
That's the thing with MIF as well. Like so many amazing movies and then you're like, wait, I want to share this. Oh, it's not in Australian cinemas yet. Mm-hmm. But I have a recommendation that was at MIF last year that has now hit Australian cinemas in 2026.
Yeah.
It's called The Chronology of Water and it's Kristen Stewart's directorial debut. So, so good. It's a drama movie which is based on American writer Lydia Yuknovich's 2011 memoir of the same name. There's some really heavy themes in it. It begins with Lydia growing up in a sexually abusive household. Definitely, like red flagging it here. There actually were a couple of people who walked out who obviously didn't know I didn't know exactly what it was about. It doesn't show the abuse explicitly, but it's very, very hinted at, and there's like the lead up to it and stuff. But the story follows Lydia after she deals with that. She goes to college for competitive swimming and deals with it through sex and drugs, and it follows her life. Lydia is played by the British actress Imogen Poots, who was great. I haven't seen her in anything else. It felt like watching someone's whole life play out on a screen in just 2 hours. And so we walked out of the cinema and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I've lived a whole life. It was crazy. Kristen Stewart said of the story, I first encountered the chronology of water in 2017, and from the very first page, I felt its electric current. This jagged, non-linear journey through trauma and memory was unlike anything I'd ever read. I wanted this movie to feel like a game of hot potato, too hot to touch. I wanted a film that pulses with immediacy and to remind every person in the theatre that your narrative is yours to rewrite. My hope is that audiences leave understanding that reclaiming your voice through writing, through art, through simply telling your own story is an act of radical power. And I do think that Kristen achieved that with this movie. It was really beautiful, beautiful cinematography, a great story. My only criticism is that they didn't age the actress up at all. So it's meant to be over like 30 years and she's had a hard life, right?
Yeah.
Like she's abused drugs and alcohol as well. And she still looks like this model when she's meant to be like, nearly middle-aged. So that kind of took me out of the story a little bit. But overall, a beautiful, beautiful movie. I'd probably only watch it once just because it's one of those things you only need to watch once. But I'd recommend, and it's in Australian cinemas now.
Thank you. Wow, that is a heavy recommendation, but you watched it last year and it still stayed with you now.
No, I watched it it was at MIF last year, but I didn't watch it last year. And I watched it just last week.
Okay. Oh, that is so lovely though. So thank you for that rec, but noted with its heavy themes as well. That does bring us to the end of this Culture Club episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have enjoyed this one, make sure to give us a little rate and review on whatever you're watching this on. And we are so excited to chat with you again soon.
Bye-bye.